Hey you guys, it's John here. We are out in the garden today enjoying a nice cup of coffee and we have some things to do. So the container garden is looking really good right now. It is about mid-September, so a lot of the celosias are blooming. The coxcomb celosias for the most part are blooming. A lot of the other ones are just about to bloom, and I'll show you guys that in just a second. But some of the older plants, the older celosias, need to be like cycled out because some of them don't look great. We've already taken out quite a bit and we just need to move some things around. So we're gonna move some things around. We're gonna fertilize the plants if we have time for that. And then we're gonna move some more containers around, add some things to the stair step bench and go from there. Okay, we are in the container garden and everything looks pretty good for the most part. These are the twisted coxcombs that are blooming. So pretty, the gold and the orange together. We actually got the gold ones by accident. We were just supposed to get orange ones, but I'm kind of liking these pops of gold that we have in here. So this is the intense purple that's just about to bloom. It's all budded up. You can still see the purple. There we go, that purple flower. It's gonna be filled with them in just a couple weeks. The dragon's breath celosia is probably going to take a few more weeks to bloom, but it is not far off. It is really pretty. And like I mentioned, it has really pretty leaves too. So today's goal is to move this Dracula coxcomb right here. Has been getting kind of lost. It's a little bit shorter than the other things. And this Alternanthera, although it is so beautiful, it is smothering the coxcombs in front of it, and it was hiding this Dracula coxcomb, but it's kind of flopped over. So what we're gonna do is we're going to move this one back there, and then we're gonna move the Dracula in front of it and maybe give this a little bit of a trim just so we keep this a little bit maintained. We trimmed this one up a little bit and it has flushed out. See, we cut it back there. We gave it a really hard prune and it has flushed out really quickly. It's been really nice. They have been getting darker. I did mention earlier that they were kind of green, and I said they were gonna get darker as the weather cooled down. And it really hasn't cooled down too much actually, and they have gotten darker, so love that. This one's actually pretty tall too. I might give this one a trim. So anyways, we're gonna move that around and then I'll show you guys kind of what it looks like at the end. Now it's a little short in here, and it will grow up, but I think I'm gonna put a brick or something underneath the pot to get it a little bit taller, because I want it a little taller than this, because that was my one concern about putting it behind it, was that this pot was so much bigger than that one. This is like a 12-inch pot and that's an 8-inch pot. So we're gonna lift it up and see if that helps a little bit. Found a painted brick that we painted at some point. Okay, so we ended up putting 4 bricks under there. We needed kind of 2 to make it balanced on the bottom. So we put 2 layers of bricks and I think it looks really good. It's gonna get taller, so it's gonna look great. Now these leaves are pretty light. The Dracula leaves, look how green they are. And that's because they weren't getting enough light, because they were getting a little bit smothered. So I think they're gonna get darker. The blooms are gonna get bigger. Yeah, because these are kind of much smaller than the other ones that we have. This is the other one that's not been smothered. As you can see, these blooms are much bigger and the leaves are darker. So I'm hoping that since this one's getting more light now, that it will look a lot better. This one still looks pretty good back here. This is kind of the same situation. The Alternanthera is in front of it. I might still move this one forward just because I know that these are gonna get taller and then those are gonna get taller, and then this one isn't really gonna get too much taller. So I think moving that one forward is still a great idea, although it looks good right now. I'm always so scared picking up bricks and pots now because we've been finding scorpions around the house and killing them when we can, but gosh, it's just one of those things. We are in an area where there are scorpions, They're kind of in pockets around the valley. They're not everywhere. Like my mom's house really doesn't have them, but here they're scorpions. There's not like a ton where they're like crawling everywhere, but they're definitely like hiding, especially like in the morning and in the evening. You'll find them a little bit more. They're more like I wouldn't say they're nocturnal, but they're more out during the evenings, mornings, evenings, and nights. Okay, this looks so much better, you guys. I think these are gonna be much happier now that they are a little bit forward. They're gonna get more light, and they're just gonna be absolutely beautiful in our fall garden. We have 1, 2, 3. And these were the Dracula coxcombs, if I forgot to mention that. They're really pretty. Kind of like I would still consider them like a dwarf coxcomb. They're a little bit taller than like the brainiacs that we have down here, and the heads are a little bit bigger, but the heads are more of like a fan shape, if you will. And then these are more of like a ball shape. So they're a little bit different styles, but they're still really pretty. But I'm just obsessed with this Alternathera and how it's pairing with this coxcomb. Look at this. Isn't that magical? Ugh, I'm obsessed. It's just very, very fall, very autumnal. And this is, again, this is the twisted dark leaf orange. It's new for 2025. It's supposed to have darker leaves on them. We'll see. They're not super dark yet. I mean, I do see that the leaves are getting kind of dark. The new growth is not really that dark. So I'm curious to see if they'll get darker as the weather cools down just a little bit later on this fall. Okay, so the next thing I want to get done today is that there are some Cosmos celosias in here. So it's a type of like wheat style celosia. These don't look horrible. Some of them don't look great. I don't really love how they get like long and spindly with like it's mostly brown here with a little bit of tip color. Obviously it's still like great for fall. So I'm gonna keep these plants. I'm just gonna move them to the side of our house, maybe until they flush out again. Not that like we couldn't use this right now, but I have some better looking plants that would look really good here. Okay, so we are on the side of our house, and we have some things that look pretty good. We have some peppers, and we have some marigolds. The marigolds are not yet blooming, so I think I'm gonna hold off on these. This pepper looks really good though, so I might add this in right now. And I think I'm gonna grab one more pepper. This one looks like it's going to be fruiting soon, so I might grab this one. I don't know. I'm gonna grab one of these smaller ones, just in case we need a little bit of extra zhuzh. Okay, here's the pepper. I think it looks good for now. Obviously, it still needs to like fruit a little bit more, but I think it looks better than the celosia. We did try to put this one in here, the purple one. This one is the Oxen Red that I showed you guys, and it was just a little bit too small. Once it fills in a little more, we'll tuck it in, but everything else looks pretty good. I can see kind of the next thing we'll probably take out are these older celosias, the older kimonos from earlier this summer, and then the other kimonos over here. This one still looks cute because it has a little crest on it, but everything else looks pretty good in the container garden. We do need to deadhead these zinnias, and all I really do, there's some really older blooms in here. All I do is just snip them off like that. I think that looks pretty good. There's some that are just hiding in here that I totally forgot about, but this looks really good. And pushing them out, pruning them helps them push out more blooms. This is like the lazy way. You could definitely get snippers and snip them. That's probably the best way to do it. But we are speed cleaning these plants. There we go. Okay, so we have our fertilizer over here that we love using. This is the Proven Winners fertilizer, and it's like a granular fertilizer, as you can see in here. But it comes with like a scoop that you can use, and we like to put a scoop in our watering can. So we just measure out a scoop of it and then put it in our can. So it's 1 scoop per gallon. So this is a 2-gallon container, so we're gonna put 2 gallons or 2 scoops of it because it's 2 gallons. And water-soluble fertilizer is one of my favorite types of fertilizer because it's so fast acting. It's already dissolved, so we're going to mix this fertilizer with water. We're gonna fill up our watering can, and then you water your plants with it like you normally would. And it's going to absorb into the root system, and the plants can immediately take it up and use it for food. This is what really gets your plants growing very quickly, and it's important to do this in container gardening because we water so much. We water our containers a lot more than we would a traditional like in-ground bed, and because we're watering it more, the soil gets leached from minerals and nutrients very, very quickly. So it's important to fertilize on a consistent basis. Today we are using a Proven Winners fertilizer. It's water soluble, and I like it because it has iron in it, which usually are like desert soils are deficient in iron. So it's always good to replenish it with iron. I like to fertilize at least once a week if I'm watering on a daily basis. If I'm watering twice a day, I'm watering fertilizing twice a week. It doesn't always happen that way, but we like to fertilize at least once a week just to keep our routine up. And if we're watering every other day, we usually fertilize every other week. And I like to use a liquid fertilizer, especially in the winter time, because this is just across the board. The granular fertilizer, like Osmocote or really any type of fertilizer like that, needs consistent heat to break down. So the heat, obviously in the summertime, you can use granular fertilizer all day long, but the heat is not as prevalent in the wintertime. So using a liquid fertilizer like this will help your plants instantly uptake the fertilizer so they can start using it to grow their beautiful blooms. We're still fertilizing all winter long, all of our cool season flowers to really get them established and growing so that they can bloom their best in the winter and the spring months. So anyways, we love using it. Certain things need a little bit more fertilizer than other things, like petunias. Definitely need a ton of fertilizer. We just fertilize everything in our containers, just at least a little bit. You can even use a half strength fertilizer if you want to, because we just find that things just grow a lot better when you give them a little bit of fertilizer. I'll link our favorite fertilizers down below. This is what we typically use if we can find it. It's the Proven Winners one, but we've also used the Jack's Classic as well. We've also used Miracle Grow, but usually Proven Winners and Jack's Classic are our usual go-tos for that. Also, another tip when you're fertilizing, make sure your pots are wet before you fertilize. These are all Calibrachoa that we potted up so that they could get bigger, so that we could put them on the container garden stair step benches once they mature. So Calibrachoa and petunias love fertilizer, and as you can see, the containers are already wet, so we're good to go. When your containers are already saturated, when you put the fertilizer water in the container, the soil can uptake that water very easily. Sometimes when the soil is dry, typically when the soil is dry, the soil can become hydrophobic and it kind of actually repels water. And this is very valuable water, fertilizer water is. So you want to make sure that the plant is hydrated, it is wet, and then you fertilize it. Also, you guys, check out these peppers on the bench over here. They look so much better than they did a few weeks ago. They are finally starting to push out some really pretty peppers. The purple and the red ones, I think these are gonna be the cutest thing once they kind of fill in with more and more peppers. But also the flowers are really cute too. They actually make these like purpley nightshade peppers. So cute. Also, a little update on the dahlia seedlings. They are doing pretty well here. They're kind of just hanging out, doing pretty good. We also potted up a ton of them in these containers. So they look healthy and they look good, just kind of growing out and filling in their pots. Okay, so Kyle is going to fertilize the rest of the plants. Kyle is our designated fertilizer. He loves fertilizing the plants after he waters them. It just makes it easier. He waters all the plants for us, which is so helpful for me. So he fertilizes it when he's finished watering, and it just makes it so much easier. So we are gonna go to a client's house and check in on her flowers. She has some really pretty flower beds. that are like white and purple and green, and they're just really, really gorgeous. We're gonna check on them, see how things are. I don't think we need to pot anything in those containers, but we'll bring some extra plants. Actually, we do need to plant some coleus in her shade pots and kind of check in on the rest of the flowers. Also, Kyle keeps yelling at me because I leave my coffee mug and my French press outside in the garden after my coffee. So we're gonna bring them inside today. So, yeah. Okay, so we just made it to our client's house. There are landscapers near us, so it might be a little loud, but we'll go over everything that we planted. We planted this back in, gosh, early August. It was probably like 5 weeks ago we planted this, and everything looks good. I'm looking at it now, so let me show you. Okay, so these were the 2 beds that we planted. They had the sweet potato vines down at the base here with the white vinca, and then the purple intense celosia. Now things have grown so much. Now these are just about to bloom, just like they are at our house. So this is gonna be really pretty, this midriff of this purple celosia. We did have some of the vincas die out. I think that they were getting a little bit of overhead water, so I don't think they liked that. They were getting basically overwatered. So we're gonna take these out. I think it's gonna be fine though, because these sweet potato vines are very vigorous. We're just going to kind of weave them into the bed to fill in any spots where the vincas may have died off here. But they look really good over here, and these beds look so good. They look so lush. I just love how dark the foliage is. I think it looks really, really well over here. So we have these 2 beds, and then we have 2 containers up front. Okay, so we have this one and we have that one. This one looks so much better. As you can see, they have the sweet potato vines trailing out of it. So I'm looking at this one and it looks really dry. So I think there may have been an irrigation issue. So let me look into that. Okay, it looks like there was no water coming out of the feeding line. So we're gonna have the landscapers come back that did that and check on it to kind of figure out what the problem is. Okay, so for now, we are going to take some of these coleus that we brought. This one is the Cottage Avenue, and we're going to stick them in the back. I think that's going to look really cute to maybe give it some height. Okay, I think this looks good. We picked plants that were not pinched, so that they would grow kind of taller and fill in the space just a little bit more. But I'm obsessed. It looks great. Now we did get a little bit of, looks like burn on here. I don't know what this was from, but we're gonna trim that up later on this fall. Okay, so now we're going to clean up this flower bed to take out any dead vincas we have in here, trim up some sweet potato vines, and then fertilize everything. We found a rogue purple vinca in here. Isn't that cute? I did not plant this, but maybe it showed up when we planted the white ones. I think I'm gonna keep it though, because it kind of goes with the purple celosias really, really well. Okay, now it's time to fertilize all of the plants. Again, we are using just a watering can and then the Proven Winners water-soluble fertilizer. Okay, you guys, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. We'll keep you updated on how all these plants fill in. I will notify the homeowner of the pot that is not doing so hot. And these types of things happen, especially in the summertime. Irrigation is always just something we're checking. And they just installed that irrigation, so I thought it was working earlier in the summer, but apparently it is not, but that's okay. That definitely happens. We may switch out those containers for like a taller, like ficus. I think that would be really pretty just to give it some height. She has like a really high, not ceiling, I guess they're ceilings. She has really high walls, so giving it some height might be something we'll do later on this fall. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. We will link all of our favorite seeds that we're using on our website down below for you guys. We'll also link anything we're using like the fertilizer down below in our Amazon store. Definitely check that out. We always appreciate your support when using all of those links. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. And I forgot to mention, we will have all of our favorite ranunculus and anemone corms and also live plants available for shipping this fall on our website. So definitely stay tuned. We will have that available hopefully by next week, but I'll keep you guys updated.